Hi everyone, very good morning. Welcome back to ITOM batch 2, day 30. How are you doing guys today?
Good, Ajay.
Good. So before proceeding for today's session, I just want to check, Arati, you attended the last one. Do you have any questions related to that CSDM build or the domain?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Harish, you need to be refer the recordings like, we are going into the CSDM as you know. So just refer the recording and let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, so we'll figure out and we'll, work on those particular things as well.
Sure, Ajay. Thank you.
So let me share my screen now. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Very able to see you, Ajay.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So basically, we are going to be discuss the next domain, which is managed technical service domain. So in CSDM, and which is one of the most important domain while we are going to be work or configure the CSDM, right? Now, if you are able to see on my screen already, like what is managed service domain? So managed service domain is the CSDM domain that represent those tables currently utilized by IT operation management, such as service mapping and ServiceNow discovery. So basically, in managed service domains, we are going to be utilize that IT operations management tools, or we can say modules, which help to populate these particular tables like technical service or dynamic CI grouping that will help out to populate that one, right? And the managed technical service tables are operational, thus are selected for ITSM incident problem change basically. So if that are operational, so we can also select those particular tables on incident problem change as well. As well as that managed technical services table represent the provider view of the deployed technology that the business will sell and consume. So in simple words, if I say, managed technical service domain will help out to, give a brief idea about which is what are the tables or what are that, application stack or what are the things we are using here, which can be used by sale and consume domain basically, right? If that is not there, that sale and consume domain will not help out to, give the visibility to that application owners or other technology service owners basically. So here, if you're able to see, we have three things most of the time we are using. One is technical service offerings, dynamic CI groups, as well as application service. And if you're able to see on this particular diagram, you know, when we there are three ways to do that, right? So one is technical service offering, and technical service offering can connect to the application service first. Second is technical service offering can connect to the dynamic CI groups, right? And third is application service, which is service mapping. And again, application service is going to be used the infra, right? So end of the day, whatever the infra we are going to use, which is discovered by service mapping or the ServiceNow discovery, will part of that managed technical services, right? If I just give you an example here, like in application service. So what is application service? Right, application service is a logical representation of deployed application or deployed system or application stack. Application service can be internal, like an organization email system, or customer facing, like an organization website. For example, creating financial reports through a web-based application requires a computer, web server, application, server, database, middleware, and network infrastructures. Right. So as I already mentioning application service. So I already mentioned a couple of times, application service is nothing but, we are creating or we are doing from top to down discovery for populate that particular application service name can be a logical name, right? But and it's also a representation of our, deployed applications and the systems, whatever the part of it, right? So let's take an example. Let me go to my this. That service table name is CMDB CI Service Auto. I already mentioned yesterday this one, but yeah. So this is my table where my all application service is showcasing, right? If you are able to see, the severity is also mentioning here, critical, okay, and all, right? If I open QA audit, and if you see the data going to be stored in the CMDB CI Service Auto, but when I click on this particular table, that is going to be moved out on CMDB CI Service Discovered, because we are doing, and that particular service maps belongs to discovery or service mapping part, right? So that's why it's moved to the service discovered. There are a couple of others. We'll let you know on that point as well. There are 3 or 4 types of services basically in the application service side. So meanwhile, it's loading. Right. So I hope it's visible. Let me zoom it. Here, this is one of my application service where the entry point is this. So if I take an example of your application or customer where you're working, so application service entry point can be anything. That can be, HTTP, HTTPS, or Citrix, or whatever they are using at their side. But in application service, we are going to be give a graphical representation or logical representation of their infrastructure, how that is connected to each other, right? If you see, this is my entry point, which is HTTP entry point, and which is going to be connect one of the server, which is MB7 broker server. Once we reached out to that server, that is going to be connected with this particular server. And if you see, when I click, and when I click on this one, that is also highlighting where the connection is happening. So that is the connection basically, right? This connection is happening from this to this is this IP address. Source is F2, target is Apache server. What is the URL of it, right? Here it's a database, right? So if it is connecting to the database, DB2 instance, right? And that is happening because these all component is discovered already in ServiceNow using ServiceNow discovery. Then my service mapping will work only, right? This is the thumb rule. If my discovery is not completed, I cannot create automated service maps or application services, simple words, right? So that is representing the complete information about my infrastructure. And if I go back to here, and if you see here, we are just trying to say these particular things, right? And who will use that particular things? That application system service owners, technology service owners, the technology service owners, right? And that depends, that is application and platform owners, infrastructures, and the delivery one, right? So who are going to use this particular one, and it will help out to dig down and get to know where is the impact and what is the impact basically, right? So if that relationships which we are building here, from technical service to technical service offerings, application service, or the infrastructure component which is connected to that, it will give it, you know a full glimpse of it basically, right? So, and if you see, like in development environment, application service represent instance of business applications or system in different type of development environment, like development, test, and production. So it doesn't mean that application service or the service map which we build here, it's only for production only, right? We can also create for development and test as well, to showcase if something is going to be important to use that there. Also, as I already mentioned, application service table, rules of this particular table for common reporting, and they underpin business or technical service, right? So here, if I open this one, I already open, let me, that can be possibility that particular application service will be part of any technical service or any business service as well, right? So the relationships when we are building like, this particular infrastructure, which is part of this particular application service, supporting to which technical or which app business service. So business service is a top service, basically, if I say, and under that we can have multiple application service, multiple technical service, right? Or under the technical services, multiple application service will be there, right? So if I give you an example of HR onboarding to offboarding, right? So HR onboarding to offboarding, one of my big, or you can say one of my business expose business service, and under that we can have multiple platform which is supporting my onboarding to offboarding business service. Like, as I already mentioned, one is related to, resume shortlisted, second is related to application or resume, sorry, interview finalizing, third is related to release the offer letter, fourth is once, offer letter release, joining formalities like documentations, laptop assign, asset assign, all these things, right? That particular system is doing. Fifth is, mandatory training which is required by a user who joined that organization now. And sixth is if he wants to be separate, or, one more point that can be there related to their salary slips, their issues, their payroll and all other things, right? And the last is if we want to be resign or separate from the organization, one system is going to be handle that one, right? So when we connecting and all those particular as of now in the technology or, digital world, everything is handling by that couple of and different organizations, right? And that if application is there which is handled by them, definitely that infrastructure stack will be there, right? So then we are going to be connect those particular application services to a particular business service to showcase if that is not working, if particular part of not working, that will going to impact something there. I hope you're getting it right. Okay. So as I mentioned, application service flow begins using the CMDB service auto table and then switching to the child table once you have picked your method to population, right? So the first I mentioned just now, top to down discovery. If we are going to use automatic discovery, then it will use the CMDB service discovered, which I just showcased you. This is part of the CMDB service discovered. See, and if we are using dynamic CI groups, then that should be CMDB query based service. If we are using text, that will be part of CMDB service text. If the text based service mapping or application service will come part when we are doing the cloud discovery. Manual, the CMDB service discovery. So manual and the top to down discovery using the same, but we can create manual as well and we can create automatic. But automatic will help out to, resolve the issues when we are doing automation of that particular services. And the services will be update automatically if any changes or any stack will be changes in that. And we just need to be schedule the service mapping discovery to update that one, right? Application, you already knows what is application. Application is any deployed program or module that is designed to provide specific functionality on specific compute infrastructure, right? Hmm, couple of times I'm also going to be confused. We have couple of applications. There is in CMDB as well. We have CMDB CI APPL, right? Which is running on any infrastructures like Tomcat is an application, Apache is an application, right? But here, what that is trying to showcase, the application is something which is running on compute infrastructure. That can be also an application, but if some application which is used by our organization, that is also right. So like, we are using mobile, and in mobile we are using, WhatsApp or, other different applications like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and different, right? End of the day, we are just installing an application, but somehow they in the back end who are managing that applications, having the infrastructure, right? On that infrastructures might be they also using the on ground applications, which is Tomcat, Apache, or databases or different stakes, right? To manage that particular flow, right? So there are different in, application, small different in, on-ground applications, which is infra related, but there is one application which is going to be exposed to end users basically. Right. So in the contents of ServiceNow, applications are limited to single hosts to ensure they maintain a unique identification during the discovery processes. Additionally, there is no one-to-one relationship between application and application service. In the other word, a single installed application such as a database instance, right? So it can be possible that can be one-to-one relationships, but it not. An application which we are using, like example, let's take an example of Airtel app, right? We are using Airtel app, but we can split in different application services based on the URL. Like if we are using basically specifically on URL based application like let me showcase you. One moment, just want to showcase you something, right? So when we are building or creating service maps, this is my URL. This can be an entry point, right? But here, different pay bills. If I go to the pay bills, the URL is changed. So I can use this URL specifically to pay bills application service, and might be the infrastructure is using is different, right? But if I go here for prepaid recharge, that is going to also change URL prepaid recharge, right? So that is one of my application service. My business service will be Airtel. Under that, we can have multiple application services that can be pay bill, view plans, prepaid recharge, and all, right? So bank, finance, accounts, right? And related to that stats, right? So we can create that, and it will end of the day showcasing with the relationships of the business service, which is Airtel basically, right? And we can populate these particular things there, and that can be possibility that other different stacks which is here is using the same infrastructure or the same service or different infrastructure or different service. Different service means connecting to from one CI to the another CI, right? That all also there can it can be possible they are also using the different on ground application on top of it the infrastructure, right? To run that particular application or the URL and to showcase to us while we are working. And you can see that is very fast, right? If I click on the view plans, that is going to be right. So that is everything is happening from that database caches, right? Everything is stored there. Once we are going to be do something new, then it will take some time to be get the information, right? So that is happening. That is basically we just want to showcase here, right? Now, next part is infrastructure configuration items, right? So as I mentioned, infrastructure configuration item are physical and logical component representing infrastructure that is currently or soon will be under configuration management. CI may be single module such as server, database, router, and more complex items such as complete structure, for example, web server, database, or infrastructure, right? So again, infrastructure configuration items, which is mentioning here, this is my infrastructure configuration item portion, can be, anything or which can be part, which but currently or soon will be part of configuration management, which part can be part of CMDB basically, right? It can be anything which already we have discussed, that can be server, router and all, right? Which is going to be support that one. Now let's move to technical service. And before moving to technical service, any questions in that one, guys?
No, Ajay.
Okay, thank you. Infrastructure, sorry, technical service. Technical service is nothing. Now we just need to be understand the gap difference between application and technical service, right? So technical service is just nothing. It's a service type that published to service owners and typically underpin one or more business or application service, right? Now the difference between technical and application services, application services we have four types which can be discovered or which can be part or automatic service mapping, where we can do based on the dynamic CI groups, tags, top to down discovery, right? But in technical service, that is something completely query based, right? So if we are going to be configure a query in the CMDB groups and then we are going to be exposed that one, that is the part of the technical service, right? And that is exposed to the service owners, technology service owners, or the technical service owners, right? Who just want to understand how many CIS is part of this particular, you know, stack. Like as I'm a country head of India, and I just want to see how many applications running in the India and what how many CIs are part of it, right? I just don't want to be see the impact. I don't want to see that service maps and all, right? Service maps is going to be exposed to the business owners, right? Who just want to understand where is the impact. Business owners as well as the technology owners, right? Who just want to understand the impact, but technology or service owners just want to see what how many CIs is part of my technical service based on that query based, like how we are going to be configured. So a technical service may have operational view made up of for one or more technical service offerings, right? So let me open the technical service table is CMDB CI service technical. Let me open this one. There is no technical service. Let's create one. Right. So I'm just creating reporting, finance reporting. Right. As I already mentioned, that is something base product model table is there, right? Model, if we want to be select, we can select it who owned by. Let's select owned by is as a what type of that business criticality of it, right? It is belongs to production or staging QA and all, right? It's operational, non-operational, retired, pipeline catalog, right? What type of classification? It's technical service, right? Who is the approval group? So again, that foundation data, as we already discussed, right, that is must required. If that is not there, we don't able to publish the correct or your complete services, right? Now my finance technical service is created, right? Now we can also do offerings as well, technical service offerings, if we want to create technical service offerings. Like if I go here, so what offerings we are providing to our customers, right? Based on that we can segregate as well, right? So I just providing finance reporting is I'm just providing finance tax calculation, right? Whatever short description, whatever the informations we want to be fill, we can fill it, right? Here, that is one offering which is attached to that. Now that relationship is automatically built. If I click here just to showcase you. See, so this is my technical service and offering, which is finance tax calculation. That is automatically, right? I not did any manual relationships to be built here, right? So that will be created automatically. Now, next part is technical service offerings, which is technical service offering is a service offering type. Define a stratifications of technical service into options including localization, geography, environment, pricing, availability, capability, support group, technical approval group, and packaging options. Right. So as I just created tax calculation, that can be possibility like I'm a country head of India. I have a couple of regions in my work, in my side, and on which we have to do the service offerings, right? So for Bangalore or for Karnataka simple or for Haryana, for Delhi, there are different applications which we are using or we are service we are providing, right? This is just, that's what offerings or what service offerings we are providing here, right? So we can create based on that and it will showcase as I just showcase you only, right? Service offering consists of one or more service commitment that uniquely define the level of service in terms of availability, criticality, and scope and pricing, right? So again, might be, for from one region I'm getting less revenue, but from the another region I'm getting the more revenue, right? So based on that, that can be created, right? If my particular service is only available for 8 to 5 for specific region, but another region that is working for 24 into 7, right? So I can create based on that as well, that particular service offerings, right? Already mentioned that example here, criticality production instance with commitment of 5-minute response guaranteed 24 into 7, a non-prod offering of limited availability and criticality with commitment of 60-minute response guaranteed between 8 to 5 on weekdays, right? So that can be, we can do that, right? Then technical service offering are mapped to service offering table. This is the table of this particular one with service classification of technical service, right? So if I open this one, where is service classification? It's not showcasing here. Okay, because that is part of this particular technical service. Service classification is technical service here. That is automatically, populating as service offering of this particular technical service, right? So we just create it directly here. If we are creating directly in the service offering table, then we have to do the classification basically. If I create here, no, I think there is something missing. Let me go back one moment. Service. Yeah, this is there, right? This is not visible on the form, but yeah, here it is. If I just create a new reporting, that's what will be the parent, right? What will be the parent service for that, right? We just need to be select, right? So what is the parent service? Finance reporting we just created, right? Automatically, if it is finance reporting, we are just submitting this one. Automatically, this will be technical service. And if I select something different, then will be changed based on that only, right? If let me open this one. Yeah, let me open this one. And if I selecting this, let me update this. This is also a technical service, I think so. That's why. But if we are selecting the parent is something different, business or application, that will, the service offering will be populated based on that, right? And it will be part of that particular one. If I change this, let me do one in simple another way, just to showcase you. Let me select something else. And it's the CMDB CS service. This is my parent table where all type of service classification will be exposed. That can be business, application, or technical, whatever it is, right? That will be populated there. No, it's all is technical there, might be. This is not the case. Might be most of the all are the technical one, but if I change it from here, let me change it. And if I opening this one, let me open this one as well. And let me showcase you this one. See, so already, this is top service. My service is top service is retail. Under that, we have retail POS. Under that, we have retail client. Under retail client, we have two. So one is service e-commerce and one is offering reporting tax. That automatically build the relationships, right? So it will give me complete high visibility on that side, how my service is connected to each other. And if you see the relationships as well depends on used by depends on use by, this is depend on use by, but this is reference. The service, this particular service offering is reference of this one, right? So that will be building automatically. Then we have dynamic CI groups. I think I already covered this one, but yeah, I can showcase you. Dynamic CI grouping is dynamic grouping of the configuration item based on the result of the query group queries, right? For example, you can create a dynamic CI group based on the location of all web servers in Detroit or Oracle database in Boston. It, as I already mentioned here, the dynamic CI is nothing, but it's just a grouping of the CIs based on the filter conditions which we applied on the query, right? Dynamic CI group contains CI. However, a dynamic CI group cannot contain the other groups. Remember, dynamic CI group, a dynamic CI group contains CIs. However, a dynamic CI group cannot contain groups. It contains the CI but cannot contain other groups as well, right? There are three types of query basically available on the dynamic CI grouping. One is a query-based application service. Second is a managed of a group of infrastructure, and third is patch management, right? So if I talk about the first, if we don't have service mapping plugin, right? But still we want to see that mapping, right? So that but these 12 servers and 3 database instance part of this one. Eliminate the old spreadsheet and use a dynamic CI group as an application service, right? So we can also use this one to remove or to eliminate from the Excels to populate in ServiceNow directly. A managed group of infrastructures is something like a web server in Detroit are managed by Detroit Rock City technical service offerings. No need to manually create relationships from the technical service offering to infrastructure CIs. Use a dynamic CI group. A single relationship from your technical service offering to your dynamic CI group automatically will be populated, right? And the same is like if we want to be patch 200 Linux servers again and again, right? In the change, we select our dynamic CI group for the Linux servers, and then we have a business rule auto populate our 200 servers into affected CI, right? So it's easy. Instead of selecting 200 CIs, in basically in particular change, we just select a dynamic CI group mapping, and automatically that will populate all 200 servers. Might be while we are selecting manually 200, we can miss something, right? But when we have already groups configured, that not going to be missed it, right? So dynamic CI group table is CMDB CI query based. Let me open this one just to showcase you. I think that is we already created, right? But yeah. This is my dynamic CI groups mapping, right? So already that way we have filter conditions, and this is coming from configuration item, this one, where Windows system is operational. We are just showcasing this one to be right. If I create a new, let me create a new as well. Right. If I create a new, I just put the name. But before, while let me put Linux. So if I'm creating this one new, I need to be select the CMDB group first of all. The CMDB groups needs to be created, which I already mentioned in, if you remember, in the discovery classes, right? So we have to be create CMDB groups, and then we can populate here. If I selecting that example applications, right? Let me submit this one on Linux. We have just selected CMDB group applications. We can see how many service CIs is there. See, these 134 records is there, which is using the filter conditions basically, right? And let me quickly showcase you that one as well, the CMDB groups. Right, let me create a new here. I'm just putting data, submit data. Yeah, here three things is there, which is CMDB groups contained saved queries. If you remember that saved queries is something which we using this query builder, right? Where we have saved some queries, and if we want to be exposed that one as well, right? If I click on the add, that is going to be this one, just query builder saved queries, right? This is the query builder saved queries, right? Second is we have CMDB groups contained and coded queries, right? Here is nothing. We just need to be apply the filter, whatever we want, right? So on which table we want. If I want on this particular one on the Linux table, that the Linux table I'm just putting, and the status I'm putting is operational, right? I can submit this one. So that will be there. And one is CMDB groups contain configuration item. If we have created something, let me open this one. So this is something based on the relationship editor, relationships, right? Group member editor, right? If we are putting something here on the specific table, if specific condition, that is also going to be populate, right? So we have different ways to be populate CMDB groups, and based on that, that CMDB group can be referenced of on my dynamic CI grouping. And this dynamic CI grouping can be referenced and part of technical service. I hope you're getting it. Right? And dynamic CI group map to this table with service classification of application service or technical service, depending on its use. Right. So when I'm in this query based, this one, where is that is this? No, this, yeah, this one. Here again, we have a business classification where service classifications basically, which we can use it. Like if I go back, right, you can see that when all Windows is business service and Linux, we are using the technical service, right? So this is again what where we want to use it. And again, if we want to see that particular basically relationships, that will automatically will be visible and we can easily find out. And we are not doing anything manual as of now, but we are just following the process to expose or to define our services in manner of application, business, technical, with using the different modules of the service. Now the relationship will be automatically created, right? So this is all about managed technical service domain. Any questions in it?
No, actually.
Okay, and the last is sale and consume domain, basically. So basically, who are going to be consume these particular things which we have built it as of now? That is going to be consumed by business relationships manager, custom service managers, right? How they are going to be. So as of now, as I mentioned, catalogs is always there, right? But business service offerings connect to the business service and the service portfolio, right? So they are going to be these particular things will going to be connect with these particular things, and then it's going to be consumed by them, right? So basically, in sell and consume is a CSDM domain that represent those tables currently utilized by the service portfolio management and customer service management. Additionally, they represent the business portfolio of the services that may sell consume element of the managed technical services. I hope you are getting it right. So is just a domain represents tables utilized by the SPM and the CSM. So this particular domain is going to be utilized by SPM and the CSM team. Additionally, business portfolio of the service, they may sell consume element of the managed technical service domain. So business portfolios is also going to be used the managed technical services here. Right now, the things comes, what is portfolio? I think we already worked in the projects, right? So while we are working on that, when we are using the service portfolio or SPM module of the service now, we have that understanding, or when we are working on the agile modules, we have that portfolio, right? At the highest level, portfolio is collection of the services product, projects, application, portfolio are used to manage like item together for a business, right? So this is completely group of each and everything, like products we are working, projects we are working, applications we are building, right? So portfolio is just something which is managed like other like items together for a business, right? So that is all. Under that, we have service portfolio, which is hierarchical classification of business and technical services, like which help to identify the what is the product and the service related to that. So it's not cover the all, but it's going to be cover only the products and the services. Then we have business service. I think I already mentioned a couple of times. Business service is a publish that business unions are typically underpin one or more business capabilities. One moment. So basically, business service can be part of one business service can be part of one or more business capabilities. Business services are often orderable by business users. So in simple words, if I say the difference between application, technical and business is business service, which is export to business, application and the technical services, which is exposed to technology service owners, and application is going to be exposed to business units as well as the technical owners. So who can see that, how the graphical representations looks like and how that is going to be impact our services basically end of the day, right? And business service is part of this particular table. CMDB here, business service. If I open this, here that nothing business service is configured. Let's configure one. Again, we have service classification as well here. I'm just creating reporting, not filling the other things. Again, we have service offerings here as well. We can create the service offerings. Right. That is done. Let's go back. Yeah, that is done. Now we have business capabilities as well, right? So when we are creating business capabilities, let me open the business capabilities as well. Yeah, here we created yesterday, right? So business capabilities test, not put reporting and tax example, right? No. So now here, this particular one, the business reporting and tax to connect with this particular business service, we have to create manual relationships. That is not coming out of the box, right? That we have to do. Otherwise, couple of that which we have created with business service and service offerings, that will automatically creating a relationships automatically, and we just showcase in the dependency map as well, which is reference basically, right? So next is service offering that, again, a service offering starting point of configuration, service portfolio management. Service offering consists of one or more service commitment that uniquely defined for service level in terms of ability, scopes, pricing, and others, right? So in simple words, if I say, SLAs in service now, right? What SLAs do? We have configured the SLAs for the different team, right? That particular SLA is for the different team. If my incident is assigned to XYZ team, the SLA run for this particular team is this. If SLA is assigned to the ABC team, that SLA will be this. The same is the service offerings as well, right? So service offerings will be depend on how my business or how my applications is running, business applications is running, and what is the scope of it, what is the pricing of it, what is the availability of it, right? That we'll be doing here. And now request catalog. That is all. I think you already knows like how a request catalog will work. Like request catalog provides a consumable view to available business and technical product services, service commitment options and offering, right? Catalog item is something where we can, request item within the service catalog. Catalog items are consumable representation of the service offerings, right? So here, if you see, everywhere we are using catalogs, right? So here it's using request catalog here, technical service. If I go up just to showcase you here, we are also using the request catalog, right? So request catalog is just for offerings where you can offer that particular offering and that will connect to the service, technical services or a technical service offerings or the application service for the each scope basically, right? And the last part of this particular thing is managed portfolio, which is used by the service owners. So managed portfolio domain is the CSDM domain that represent portion of all 5 previous domains, that is foundation, design, build, manage, technical service, and sales consume. Right. So managed portfolio or the service owners have that visibility of each domain and it will build on based on that only, right? And in simple words, if I say these service owner encompass the truth breadth of their responsibility. For example, a service owner of HR may have financial responsibility of the business application that provide HR services, right? Or additionally, the HR service owner may have directly responsible for overseeing the effective deployment of HR application instance known as application services, right? So that is for that only managed portfolio, just to be inside of all. If he is managing couple of things, like if I go to a country head or more than a country head position, we need to be oversight the couple of things, right? So that managed portfolio comes in the picture where we have the access, we have to define the rules, we have to be defined that particular one is looking for those particular things basically. Right now, next is this CSDM conceptual models to CMDB table. And now, from last couple of days, we are doing this one. Anyone knows why we called CSDM conceptual till now?
Because it's a framework kind of thing where we need to follow, nothing to configure or to code, I believe.
Okay. Arati, do you want to add something?
No,
Okay.
not really.
So CSDM conceptual, why we call conceptual? Because still that CSDM is an evolving phase. Right. Still, we have 4.0 in Janedo, 5.0 is released. That is going to be, live or used by the owners. Next, we are going to be 5.6. This is not fixed. This is conceptual still, right? They are going to be modifying or evolving that particular CSDM framework model to organizations based on their requirements for that their, correct reporting, correct visibility on each and every component, right? That's why there are two things comes in the picture. CSDM is common data and service model, service delivery model, right? So basically, that will provide using the two things. One is the common data, which is going to be used by the organization. And second thing, which is going to be what service is going to be used by the organizations. And we are going to be create relationships on it, right? So here it will, it's also mentioned here that please be advised the mapping will continue to evolve as strengthen the relationship across the foundation, design, manage technical service, sale, consume domain, and to the degree possible. Right? Here it just, conceptual things, here the physical model, right? It's conceptual business capability we have. Then they define the business capability table. Business applications, then we have business application table. Information object, we have information object table. SDLC component, we have SDLC component, right? these particular technical service offering application, these particular part of the services, right? So the uh that we have different tables, service classifications for different things is there, right? For service CMDBCI service auto table, we have four types of services which already we have discussed, like service discovered, query, tag based. Dynamic CI grouping, we have it. Application, we have CMDB CI PPL table. Infrastructure CIs can be various types. That can be Linux, Windows, and all, right? Service portfolio, not in CMDB CI. It's not a CMDB CI table. Right? Business service, again, CMDB CI service table. Service offerings, we have a service offering table. Request catalog, not a CMDB CI table, right? So this all conceptual models we designed in the physical side, but still that is evolving, that we are doing modifications, lots of things, and couple of tables is going to be modified to, you know, incorporate the all use cases what we have it here. That is that we are doing. Next, I think we will discuss the all five phases, how that, service mapping, or sorry, CSDM implementation works, when, where, what we have to do to, complete the CSDM implementation. And again, as I already mentioned couple of times, CMDB or something CSDM is the same, which cannot be completed in a single day, or which cannot be completed ever, right? It will take time, and it will be, updating, modifying, changes will be happening based on the requirement changes, based on the concept will be changing, right? Like CMDB, if we have more CIs discovered, and that will be going to be added, then again we have to be manage the manual attribute, and again we have to be update the other things, right? The same way CSDM as well, right? So once we decide the whole portfolio, or the whole holistic architecture view of the CSDM, then right, but still we have to be, you know do the necessary updates or changes on it, right? Like now 4.0, 5.5.0 is announced already in Janedu, and might be that can be possibility they will remove, example, they will remove the business applications, they will introduce something new, then we have to do that, those particular things as well, right? So we will discuss tomorrow on how the CSDM standards follows, and what is the five stages, which is foundation, crawl, walk, run, and the fly. And each foundation, or each step, what we have to do, what we have to be configure, what we have to be design. And I think after that, CSDM will be completed. Any questions in that? And
No,
I will prepare a example tomorrow as well, the complete example to showcase you from where to where you have to go to design that particular things, and how it will look like in the end of the day once that everything is done. I think, yeah, if no questions, then I'm good for today. I think we'll connect tomorrow at the same time. Arati, do you have any questions, anything from your side?
I'm good.
Okay, I think then we are good for today, and we'll connect tomorrow at the same time to continue on that CSDM part.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.